But let's start the recording because I accidentally started reading chapter 11 again. Chapter 12 is called The Smell of Blood. And you know what? Since we're talking about chat, I guess I'll say it here. Should probably read The Perfect Run. Yeah, I know that's like, I think 100 chapters or less. Or what was it? Mother of Earth. We are only 0.5% through Shadow Slave, chapter 12. But the plan is to just read the web novel as frequently as I can, even though I'm primarily reading Lord of the Mysteries. And I know right now the manhwa for Shadow Slave is in early development. So I figured by the time it comes out, I should be done with Lord of the Mysteries, and then maybe be done with volume 1 of this series, and then hopefully by then by the time we finish that, we should have enough context, and then we can start reading the manhwa if it comes out. Knock on wood, but hopefully that's like how I envision myself reading this series, especially at my current output. Did you ever read? No, I have not read it. Don't Let Easy read The Wandering End. No, there's a few you guys have been recommending. But for now, chapter 12 is called that was such a weird scuffed intro because we read it our intro because we were accidentally reading chapter 11, like even though like it was on like a page. But chapter 12 is called The Smell of Blood. Right, that obstacle was looking down, avoiding Sunny's gaze. His hand was resting on the sword handle. As always, the young slave had no idea about what was going on inside Hiro's perfectly shaped head. The uncertainty wasn't making him nervous. Finally, after some time had passed, the soldier spoke. I have only one question. Both Sunny and Scholar stared at him while holding their breaths. Yes, you said that one of us must be sacrificed to save the other two. Why him? From what I see, you are far closer to the grave. A great question. I was just about to ask that myself. Sunny turned to the old... I was going to say the same shit, dude. Maybe Easy should read The Daily Life of the Immortal King. I think I've bookmarked that. No, never mind. I'm thinking of something else. Sunny turned to the older slave, trying very hard to suppress a mocking grin, but to his dismay, the scholar had an answer ready. Before the first attack, he was already bleeding because of your senior's whip. During the attack, he was drenched in blood of a fellow slave. His cloak, too, was soaked in it when the previous owner died. The body already reeks of blood. Keeping him alive will put us in danger. That's why he is the best choice. So the grin died before reaching Sunny's face. Curse you and your big brain. Scholar's reasoning was appallingly solid. Hiro listened. I'm joking about the level. His expression growing darker with each word. Finally, he looked at Sunny, a dangerous light shining in his eyes. That is true. Sunny felt his mouth getting dry. Cold sweat was running down his spine. He tensed, ready to act. But at that moment, Hiro smiled. Your logic is almost unassailable? I cannot read that word. He said, unsheathing the sword. However, you failed to account for one thing. Scholar raised an eyebrow, trying to hide his own nervousness. What might that be? Don't tell me he's going to cut his own arm, the young soldier. The young soldier turned to face him, the smile disappearing from his face. Now he was radiating thick, particularly palpable, killing intent. It said, I know who you are, your grace. I also know what you've done and how you ended up a slave. Just one of your grace? Just one of the revolting crimes you have committed would be enough to make me want to kill you. So if there is someone among us who deserves to be sacrificed, it's you. Scholar's eyes widened. But the smell of blood, don't worry about it. I'll make you bleed enough to overpower whatever residual scent the boy carries. Damn, what a badass. It all happened so fast that Sunny barely had the time to act. Hiro lunged forward with a speed that seemed almost inhuman. No shit, he cuts the old man. A moment later, the scholar was shrieking on the ground, his leg broken with one strike from the flat side of the young soldier's sword, not giving him an opportunity to recover. Hiro stomped on his other leg. A sickening sound of the shattering bone could be clearly heard. The shriek turned into a sobbing howl. Just like that, Scholar was done for. The brutality of Hiro's actions was in such a stark contrast with his usually graceful demeanor that Sunny felt blood turning to the ice in his veins. That was scary. The soldier gave him a calm look and said in a placid tone, wait for me here. Then he grabbed the old slave and dragged him down the path, soon disappearing behind a rock outcropping. Whoa! After a few W-bait indeed, dude. After a few minutes, terrible screams could be heard echoing through the wind. My man, that old man deserved it, dude. Sunny was left alone, trembling. Crap, this is too much. He still couldn't believe how sudden Scholar's demise came to be, and how ruthless this one. Sometime later, Hiro was back, acting as though nothing had happened, but it was exactly that normalcy that unnerved Sunny the most. After sorting through the contents of Scholar's rucksack and throwing most of the firewood out, the young soldier put it over his shoulder, nonchalantly turned to the young slave. Let's go, we need to hurry. Not knowing what to say, Sunny gave him a nod and headed forward. Now, there was only 2 of them left. It was sort of stupid, but Sunny suddenly felt lonesome. Walking on a stone path was much easier than scaling the mountain wall. He even had time for unnecessary thoughts. A strange feeling of melancholy descended on Sunny. Somehow, he began to feel that the end of the nightmare, whatever it might be, was not far off now. Then he walked in silence for some time before a hero spoke. Don't feel guilty about what happened. It's not your fault. The decision was mine and mine alone. The young soldier was a few steps ahead, so Sunny couldn't see his face. Besides, if you knew this man's sins, actually it's better you don't. Just trust me when I say that killing him was an act of justice. I wonder which of us feels guilty. These people always trying to rationalize their actions, always desperate to maintain an illusion of righteousness. Even while doing most of the foul things, Sunny hated the hypocrisy. Not getting an answer, Hero chuckled. You don't like to talk, do you? Well, fair enough. Silence is gold. They didn't speak again after that, each preoccupied with their own thoughts. The sun was setting, painting the world into millennium shades of crimson. The high up the air was clean and crisp, piercing the streams with scarlet light. Below them, a sea of maroon clouds was slowly rolling past the mountain. The stars and the moon had begun to reveal themselves in the vermilion sky. It was quite beautiful. However, Sunny could only think about how cold it was going to be once the sun disappears. Didn't he throw away the firewood? But before that happened, Hero had found them a shelter. Not far from the path, hidden behind some tall rocks, was a narrow crevice that extended into the slope of the mountain. Happy to be safe from the piercing wind, they explored the crevice and ended up in a small, well-concealed cave. Sunny made a move to unbundle some firewood, but Hero stopped him with a shake of his head. Today we will camp without making a fire. The beast is too close. Oh, it's going to lure him in. Camping without the warm flames to keep them company was not going to be pleasant, but at least they were going to freeze to death inside the cave. In any case, the alternative was too frightening. Sunny sat down, putting his back against the cave wall. Hero settled opposite of him, looking downcast and thoughtful. He was obviously in a strange mood. If nothing else, it was apparent from the fact that today was for the first time the young soldier had failed to care for his sword after making camp. Soon the sun was gone and their small cave became completely dark. Sunny, of course, could still see perfectly well. He can see in the dark. Here, on the other hand, was now where completely blind in the darkness. His handsome face looked noble and for some reason sorrowful. Sunny studied, not willing to fall asleep. After a while, Hero suddenly spoke in a quiet voice. You know, it's strange. Usually I can feel someone's presence even in absolute darkness, but with you, there's nothing. It's like you are just one of the shadows. Whoa, title drop. Almost like a shadow slave, okay? If only silence will answer him. I wonder if he's going to use the shadow as like an ability. Maybe that's an ability he gets. Like he can use shadows. If only silence will answer him, he smiled. Are you asleep? The question echoed in the darkness. Sunny, who had never spoken with Hero unless there was an urgent need to, and even then only used a few words at best, felt like there was a strange intimacy between them now. That's why he decided to talk. Maybe the darkness gave him courage. Besides, there was an occasion. Why are you waiting for me to fall asleep before you kill me? Or will you do it in the morning? Damn. All right. It's over 2,300. Awesome. All right. Chapter 13 is called Moment of Truth. Chapter 13 is called Moment of Truth. The smile froze on Hero's face. He lowered his head as though in shame. After a minute or so passed, shrouded in heavy silence, he finally answered, Yes, I thought if I do it when you sleep, you won't have to suffer. Unseen to him, a bitter grin appeared on Sunny's face. A long sigh escaped from the young soldier's lips. He rested his back against the cave wall, still not looking up. I don't expect you to forgive me. This sin, too, will be mine to bear. But please, if you can, find it in your heart to understand. If things were different, I would have gladly faced the monster to let you escape. But my life does not belong to me alone. There's an uncompassionable duty, but I am sworn to fulfill. Until it's done, I cannot allow myself to die. Sunny laughed. You people, look at you, planning to kill me and still insisting on having a good excuse. How very convenient. I really hate hypocrites like you most. Whoa. Like you the most? Why don't you be honest for once? Don't give me that crap. Just say it. I'm going to kill you because it's easy. I'm going to kill you because I want to survive. Hero closed his eyes, his face full of sadness. I'm sorry. I knew you wouldn't be able to understand. What's there to understand? Sunny leaned forward, anger coursing through his veins. Tell me why. Why do I have to die? The young soldier finally looked up. Even though he couldn't see in the dark, he turned his face in the direction of Sunny's voice. That man was a villain, but he was also right. The scent of blood is too heavy on you. It will attract the beast. You can let me go, you know. We'll part away. After that, whether or not the monster finds me won't be your problem. Hero shook his head. Dying in the creature's maw is too cruel a fate. It's better if I do it myself. You are my responsibility after all. How noble of you. Sunny leaned back dejected. After a short while, he quietly said, you know, when I just came here, I was ready to die. After all, in this whole world, 2 worlds, actually, there's not a single soul who cares whether I live or die. When I'm gone, no one will be sad. No one will ever remember that I even existed. Damn, that is sad. There was a forlorn look in his face. A moment later, however, it was gone, replaced by mirth. But then I changed my mind. Somewhere along the way, I decided to survive. I must survive no matter what. Hero gave him a thoughtful look. To live a life worth remembering, Sunny grinned. A dark gleam appeared in his face. No, to spite you all. The young soldier was silent for a few moments, then nodded, accepting his answer. He rose to his feet. Don't worry, I'll make it quick. Aren't you overly confident? What makes you think you'll be able to kill me? Maybe I'll kill you instead. Hero shook his head. I doubt that. What is this dynamic, dude? But the next second, he staggered and fell on one knee. The young man's face turned deathly pale, and with a pained groan, he suddenly vomited blood. A satisfied smile appeared on the side. He's so happy. A satisfied smile appeared on Sunny's face. That's so twisted. Finally. He was standing on his knees, lower part of his face covered in blood. Astonished, he was staring at his hands, trying to understand what had happened to him. What magic is this? Magic? With white eyes and a pale face, he turned to Sunny. Was that thief right? Did you put the curse of the shadow god on us? Sunny sighed. I wish that I had the ability to throw divine curses around, but no, to tell you the truth, I don't have any abilities at all. Then how? The young slave shrugged. That's why I poisoned... What the He poisoned everyone? That's why I poisoned you all? I love Sunny, dude. He's so good. Hero flinched, trying to comprehend his words. What? After the tyrant first attack, you sent me to search for water. While gathering flagons from the dead soldiers, I squeezed blood-stained juice into each one except my own. Of course, not enough to taste it, but enough to slowly kill anyone who would drink from them. What a Sunny 200 IQ, definitely, dude. The soldier gritted his teeth, struggling through pain. A sudden realization appeared in his face. So that's why the other two were in such bad shape? Because they were in poor health. They got sick quicker. He was planning to kill them all from the beginning as bait, bro. Don't give a fuck. Maybe Easy should read Elliseed. Dude, what do you mean? We've been reading Elliseed for hundreds of chapters, Lee. Sunny, so that's why the other two were in such bad shape. Sunny nodded. Shiftly drank the most, so his condition worsened the fastest. Scholar was also not long from the world, but you finished him off before the poison could. Yourself, however, it was as though Bloodbane had no effect on you at all. I was really starting to get worried. Hero's face darkened. I see, I understand. He thought about something, then looked at Sunny with surprise. But back then, you didn't know that we will turn on you. Sunny just laughed. Oh, please, it was obvious. Shifty was the kind of man who would kill for a pair of boots. Scholar was like a wolf in sheep's clothing. People are selfish and cruel in the best of situations. Was I supposed to believe that those two weren't going to do something terrible to me when faced with certain death? Hero spat more blood. Then what about me? You is the disdainful expression appeared on Sunny's face. You are the worst of them? Why? That's what I'm saying. Sunny looked at him and leaned forward. I might have not learned much in a short life, but I do know one thing. He said, all traces of humor gone from his voice. Now there was only cold, callous contempt. Sunny's face hardened as he spat. There is nothing more pathetic than a slave who begins to trust his slaver. Whoa! Hearing these words, Hero lowered his head. I see. Then suddenly he left. You are a wicked little shit, aren't you? Sunny rolled his eyes. There's no need to be rude, but Hero wasn't listening to them. Good, this is good. My conscience will be clear. The young slave slid in irritation. What are you so how is he going to fight him now? How's he going to take on the tyrant all by himself? What are you mumbling about? Just die already. Hero chuckled and suddenly pierced him with a stare. Somehow he didn't look so sick anymore. You see, the plan would have worked if I was a normal human, but alas, my soul core has awakened long ago. I've slain countless... Oh, wait. Memories can also have cores? My soul core has awakened long ago. I've slain countless enemies and absorbed their power. Blood-being poison, unpleasant it might be, can never kill me. Crap. Sunny turned around and tried to run away, but it was already too late. Something hit him in the back, sending his body crashing into the rock wall. With a scream, he felt a sharp pain piercing his left side. Rolling out of the cave, Sunny clutched his chest, scrambling back on his feet, and ran, trying to escape with a narrow crevice. Damn, dude. Stop. Oh, now he's telling him to stop? As a cold voice sounded behind him, Sunny froze. If Hero really had an awakened soul core, he had no chances to get away from him. In a fight, he had no chances at all. Turn around. The young slave obediently turned, holding his hands up. He looked at Hero, who was wiping the blood off his face with a displeased look in his eyes. The two of them stared at each other, shivering in murderous cold. Was it worth it? No matter, despite it all, I will be true to my promise. I'll make it quick. The soldier unsheathed his sword. Do you have any last words? Sunny did not answer. However, small silver bell suddenly... Oh, the bell he had! However, a small silver bell suddenly appeared in his hand. However, where were you hiding that thing? Sunny shook the bell, a beautiful clear ringing. Oh, is it gonna... Memories can't have course? I skipped a line? Oh, shit. Before stop? What? I did? Oh, I did skip this one. Before stop, he managed to reach the old path, finally being able to see the stars as the pale moon shining brightly in the night sky, but it was far as he was able to get. Wow, the moon is very different from Lord of the Mysteries, I'll tell you that much. Was it worth it? No matter, despite it all, I will be true to my promise. I'll make it quick. The soldier unsheathed his sword. Do you have any last words? Sunny did not answer. However, a small silver bell suddenly appeared in his hand. Hero frowned. Where were you hiding that thing? Sunny shook the bell. A beautiful, clear, ringing sound flowed over the mountain, filling the night with an enchanting melody. What are you doing? Stop. The young slave dutifully stopped. Is that what attracts the tyrant? W silver bell? It's like the Elden Ring bell. What was? Right under the hero's bewildering eyes, the silver bell disappeared into the thin air. He looked at Sunny, stumbled and suspicious. Tell me, what did you just do? But Sunny didn't answer. In fact, he hadn't a single word ever since escaping the cave. Right now, he wasn't even breathing. Hero, on the other hand, continued to speak. Tell me right now, or you'll regret it. Shut up. He lured in the tyrant, right? He scowled. Why are you not answering anything? The shivering boy just stared at him, completely silent. No, he was staring into the darkness behind him. Hero's eyes widened. What? What just happened? Child of shadows? Oh, tyrant can hear if it's so. Tyrant can hear it so if it knows where they are now. Yeah, so it doesn't have eyesight, but it can hear. Yeah, that's how I was able to track it. And it can also smell blood. Chapter 14, Child of Shadows. That is a pretty cool title drop, okay? We are one step closer to being the true Shadow Slave. Sunny had no choice but to resort to one last desperate gamble. He had no chance against the enemy during confrontation, at least not without an advantage. Bloodbane poison was supposed to be his hidden card, but turned out to be nearly useless. Being able to see in the dark did not help that much too. Somehow Hero was able to perceive their surroundings even without any light. Whether he was using his sense or hearing or some magical ability, Sunny did not know. I assume it's part of his abilities. Not that it mattered now that they had left the cave and were standing under the moonlight sky. Now he had only one advantage left. The fact that he knew that the tyrant was blind and Hero did not. Oh, Hero didn't know. Acting on that, however, was easier said than done, but what else could he do? That's why he tried to stay quiet as long as possible and rang the silver bell. If the description did not lie, it ringing could be heard from miles away. Surely the tyrant was going to hear it too. Now Sunny only had to stay silent, stall for time, and hope that the monster would come. As soon as he did, Hero's bewilderment slowly turned into anger. Tell me right now, or you'll regret it. His voice was quite threatened, but still the young slave did not answer. He just shivered in the cold and tried not to groan despite the pulsing pain in his chest. Worry not answering, but Sunny did not dare to answer. He held his breath and watched, horrified as the familiar colossal figure appeared behind Shadow. The tyrant? His lungs were on fire and his heart was beating like crazy. It was beating so loud that he was even afraid that the blind tyrant would hear it. But of course, it couldn't be louder than Hero's voice. Who was still oh my god, I'm so used to reading Lord of Mysteries, and I'm not used to reading it on this format. At the last second, and a hint of understanding appeared in the young soldier's eyes, he began to turn around, his sword rising with lightning speed. But it was too late. A massive hand appeared from the darkness. It caught him into the iron grip. The bone claw scraped against the armor, pulling it apart. Mountain King dragged Hero back, paying little attention to the sword biting into his wrist. Vicious saliva was streaming from its open maw. Damn, dude. Petrified by fear, Sunny... I really like reading this already. I love how different it is from what we've been normally reading so far, dude. Oh, man. Petrified by fear, Sunny slowly turned his back to them and took a couple steps up the old, winding path. Then he darted away, running as fast as he could. Behind him, a desperate scream tore apart the silent night. Then a hungry roar followed. It seemed the hero wasn't going down without a fight, even though his fate was still sealed. But Sunny didn't care. He was running away, climbing higher and higher. I'm sorry, Hero, he thought. He's sorry. I'm sorry, Hero, he thought. I did say that I will watch you die, but as you know, I am a liar, so go and die on your own. What a good character. I fucking love Sunny, dude. A lonesome dark mountain stood tall against the raging winds, jagged and proud, to dwarf other peaks of the mountain chain, cutting the night sky with its sharp edges. A radiant moon bathed its slopes into the ghostly light. Under that light, a young man with pale skin and black hair reached the peak of the mountain. However, his looks didn't match the magnificence of the scene. Wounded and staggering, he looked pathetic and weak. The young man looked like a walking corpse. His coarse tunic and cloak were torn and smeared with blood. His sunken eyes were cloudly and lifeless. His body was bruised, beaten, and cut. The specks of blood foaming on his lips, foam on his lips. He was hunched over, creating the left side of his chest. Each step caused him to moan, ragging breath, barely escaping through gritted teeth. Sunny was hurting all over, but most of all, he was cold. So cold. He just wanted to lie down in the snow and fall asleep, but instead he continued walking because he believed that the nightmare will be over once he reaches the peak. So he's not even trying to kill the tyrant. He's just waiting until he dies. Yo, it's a very good series. Step, another step. Finally, he made it back. At the highest point of the mountain, a vast expanse of flat rock was covered with snow. In the center of it, illuminated by moonlight, stood a magnificent temple. Its colossal columns and walls were cut from black marble with exquisite reliefs decorating the Stygian pediment. I cannot read that word. And broad frieze, beautiful and awesome. It looked like a palace. Of a dark god. Wasn't there like a shadow god mentioned earlier? At least it did once. Now the temple was in ruins. Fractures and cracks marred the black stones. Parts of the roof had collapsed, letting in ice and snow. Its tall gates were broken as if it smashed into pieces by a hand of a giant. Still, Sunny was satisfied. Found you, he said in a hoarse voice. Gathering the last of his strength, the young slave slowly limped in the direction of the ruined temple. His thoughts were muddled and... is this the temple of the... shadow god? Is that what it is? His thoughts were... wasn't that something that was mentioned, like, in the beginning of the series? Like his aspects or whatever were correlated to like a shadow god or like a shadow temple. See this hero, he thought, forgetting for a second the hero was already dead. I think I'm wrong. I've made it. You were strong and ruthless, but I was weak and timid. Yet now you are a corpse and I am still alive. Isn't it funny? He stumbled and groaned, feeling the edges of his broken ribs cutting deeper into his lungs. Blood was dripping from his mouth. Dead or not, Hero had gotten him good with a single strike. Actually, it's not. What do any of you even know about being ruthless? Poor fools. In the world where I come from, people had thousands of years to turn cruelty into art. And as someone on the receiving end of all that cruelty, don't you think I would know more about being vicious than you ever could? He was getting closer to the temple. Truth be told, you never stood a chance. Wait, what was I thinking about? A moment later, he had already forgotten. There was only pain in the dark temple and the overpowering desire to sleep. Don't fall for it. It's just a hypothermia. If you fall asleep, you'll die. Finally, suddenly reached the steps of the black temple. He started to climb them, not noticing thousands of bones that were scattered around. These bones once belonged to humans and monsters both. All of them were killed by invisible guardians still lingering around the temple. Lingering invisible guardians? As Sunny was climbing the step, one of the shapeless guardians approached him. It was ready to snuff out the spark of his life that was burning weakly in the defiler's chest, but then stopped, sensing a faint, strangely familiar scent coming from his soul. I'm sorry, he has a shadow soul? Like... the scent of divinity, sorrowful and lonesome. The guardian moved aside, letting Sunny pass. Oblivious, he entered the temple. Sunny found himself in a grandiose hall. Cascades of moonlight were falling through the holes in a partly collapsed roof. Deep shadows were surrounding these circles of the silver light. Not daring to touch them, the floor was covered in snow and ice. I'm sorry, Carrie. I haven't had my coffee. I haven't had coffee yet. At the far end of the hall, a large altar was cut from a single piece of black marble. It was the only thing inside the temple untouched by snow. Forgetting why he came here, Sunny had headed for the altar. He just wanted to sleep. The altar was dry, clean, and as wide as a bed. Sunny climbed on it and lay down. It seemed like he was going to die. He was okay with that. Sunny tried to close his eyes, but was stopped by sudden noise coming from the direction of the temple's entrance. He turned his head to look, not even a little bit curious. What he saw would have sent chills running down his spine if he wasn't so cold, tired, and indifferent. Mountain King was standing there looking at him with its 5 blind eyes. He was still massive, terrifying, and revolting. Worm-like shapes were still moving frantically under its skin. It was sniffing the air, salivating. Then it opened its maw and moved forward, slowly approaching the altar. What an ugly bastard, Sunny thought, and suddenly clutched his chest. Convulsing in a fit of torturous coughing, bloody foam flew in from his mouth and fell on the altar. However, the altar. The altar is going to get activated. He interacted with the altar. However, the black marble soon absorbed it. A second later, it was as pristine as it was before. The tyrant was just about to reach Sunny. It was already stretching its hands to grab him. I guess this is the end, he thought, resigned to his fate. But at the last second, suddenly the voice of the spell resounded in the dark temple. You have offered yourself as a sacrifice to the gods. The gods are dead and cannot hear you. Your soul bears the mark of divinity. You are a temple slave. Okay, you are a temple slave. Shadow God stirs in his eternal slumber. He sends a blessing from beyond the grave. Child of the shadows, receive your blessing. Under the sunny's astonished eyes, the shadows crowding the great hall suddenly moved as though coming alive. Tentacles of the darkness surged forward, entangling the Mountain King's... Is he killing it? Entangling the Mountain King's arms and legs, the mighty tyrant struggled, trying to get free. But how could it resist the power of God? The shadows dragged Mountain King back, pulling in different directions. The tyrant opened its maw, and a furious howl escaped. The next second, its body ruptured, torn apart into pieces. Blood, viscera, and severed limbs fell onto the floor in a crimson torrent. Just like that, the horrible creature was dead. Sunny blinked. Oh, so now he leaves a dream because it died. Once again, he was alone in the ruined temple. The great hall was dark and silent. And then the spell whispered, you have slain an awakened tyrant, Mountain King. Wake up, sunless. Your nightmare is over. Prepare for appraisal. Oh, shit. That's so cool. The first nightmare is over. How was it? Oh, creator's thoughts. Wait, this is so cool. Creator's thoughts. The first nightmare is over. How was it? Yo, that was actually really badass. Okay. I think I'm reading this hands down. After I'm done with Lord of Mysteries, I think we're going to power through this series. This is really good. I like it. I like it. And yeah, these chapters are actually a lot these chapters are actually a lot slower. I mean, not slower, they're shorter. Well, here. He's an edgelord. Okay, we're going to do overall thoughts. I like it. First Nightmare is really badass. I am just sorry it took us over 3 months to read 14 chapters, man. Longest arc I have read. Bro, I apologize, man. For people that actually saw my first chapter like 3-4 months ago, can you try a short novel first, like 300 chapters? So yeah, I'll be honest. I do want to read something short. I want to quickly finish Lord of the Mysteries just because we're like almost 1,000 chapters in. It's worth it to read a few SSS chapters from time to time. A lot of people enjoy SSS. It will help you grow. Well, I mean, I do like it. And I mean, so look, once again, the original plan was to read... I only have so much free time, so it's mostly been dedicated to Lord of the Mysteries, just because we're like literally approaching chapter 900, 1000, and so on, right? Like Lord of the Mysteries is 1400. We're almost done, man. Like I know for a fact we're finishing this year. We're finishing Lord of Mysteries this year. Like I already know it. After that, we'd probably start like another web novel. And my goal on the channel was to read Lord of the Mysteries and just read more like manga weekly, just because they're shorter and it's easier to read. Let us create a list of novels you should read, and then you spin a wheel to pick. You know, I think that's a good idea. We can try that. Yeah, we can try that. But at least right now, I do like Shadow Slave, so I probably will be reading more in between. Like, if I can read like this once a week, a few chapters here and there, or maybe twice a week, a few chapters here and there, I think that's good for now. At least until the alleged manhwa comes out. There will be too many choices. Definitely, man. It would be a good, relaxing series to calm down after emotional moments. You know, it could. After Liz, yeah. Thank you for your feedback. I mean, I like it. So, basically, he rested on the altar of the temple that belonged to the Shadow Lord. And what was it? Or the Shadow God? Or I forget, what god was it? Shadow Lord? Shadow God? Basically, the gods were already dead, but they still heard him. They actually hired me to do one chapter of SSS manhwa. When's it come out unhinged? You gotta let me know, man. What was it? Shadow God stirs in his eternal slumber. And he was basically a child of shadows. That is so cool. The gods are dead and cannot hear you. Your soul bears the mark of divinity. That's what I want to know. May 2026. I have read about 2,300 Shadow Slave, and I originally found your channel due to the first few chapters you read. Oh, that is so cool, dude. That's awesome. He sacrificed his blood, and the shadows awaken and kill the tyrant for him. Yeah, so it's like the shadows, like, you know, I'm used to Lord of Mysteries, so I've seen the tentacles, you know, the Cthulhu-like tentacles, but these were like shadow-like tentacles that like leached and like grabbed the tyrant, and that's what killed him. I like it. It's good, man. I feel like I could have read another chapter in between us just talking about it, but don't worry. When the manhwa comes out, we are definitely reading the manhwa weekly. I'm promising you that. And as long as we finish Lord of Mysteries in a quick pace, we should be good to read this more. At least while we wait for the manhwa. Also, it was kind of hidden since his aspect was Temple Slave. Just didn't know what temple, and that's the temple. Yeah, I figured that was like the temple. Because I remember his aspects... In the beginning of the Nightmare, it gave him his aspects, and you're like, oh, these are really bad aspects. Shadow, not shadow-like. Got it. Shadow tentacles. Got it. My bad. Yeah, I got it. All right, now I got it. Thank you, After Liz. Well, we're going to leave it there. I'm sorry it was only 30 minutes. I only have 29 minutes recorded, so I do apologize for that again. But don't worry. I'm feeling very optimistic. We are going to be reading this after Lord of Mysteries a lot more frequently, or maybe we'll read a short series before this. I mean, we'll see how the tables go. You know, we'll see where we'll see where the pendulum lands, or where the pendulum swings to. We'll see how it goes. But when the manga drops, I'm reading it. Like for example, my original goal on this channel was to read Lord of the Mysteries, Shadow Slave, and Reverend Insanity. And I'm realizing it is really hard to read 3 long web novels concurrently. With the manga, you'll still read the web novel? Maybe. Probably. Yeah, probably. Nightshade. Like, I'm definitely reading the web novel, right? But if I'm reading that weekly, I feel like I'll have a good chance to always read it weekly. But I'm not, for the web novel, Reverend Insanity, damn, that was the plan, right? But like, if you go on this channel, we've only been reading Lord of Mysteries with the occasional manga reacts in between, or other like game reacts and whatnot. So it's kind of up in the air. I'm feeling optimistic. Google fan art of the Mountain King now. There's a lot of fan art for the first Nightmare. You know what? That's a good idea. So that was the Mountain King right there. That's pretty cool. And then there was this one. Oh, I zoomed in way too much. This was pretty cool. So this was him on the altar. That's pretty cool. I like it. All right. Well, we're going to leave it there. That's cool, dude. That's awesome. I'm just, okay, that's a spoiler. My bad. Maybe not look at it. No, it's okay. Yeah, that's him in the temple. Yeah, so that was him in the temple. All right, that's cool. Well, I like it. We're going to leave it there, and we're going to read more soon. You can make me mod, as I've finished SSS twice already, Clownman. Oh, for sure, dude. All right. I'll remember that, Clownman. All right, for sure. All right, so next time we're reading more of it. I got you, dude. I got you, man. All right, so we're going to leave it there. SSS even and finish. I know, man. 2,400 plus chapters. That is crazy. All right, well, I'm going to leave it there. I'm going to head out. And look, we have now... so weird it's inverted. We have now... Look, I'm pointing that way, but chat is this way. It's so weird. So, look, we have finally fixed chat. Custom emotes work. So if anybody wants to be a member for $1, custom emotes work now. I read a 4K chapter novel before. Damn! All right. Well, once again... Hey, look at that! Look at that! Look at that! Custom emotes work now. So, thank you, Wiz. Thank you for helping me out, brother. But we finally got custom emotes to work. All right, guys. Peace. Have a beautiful day. And I'll see you guys all very soon. All right. Later, guys.